Friends, a couple of logistics. I do have CDs at the back, and I also have cards. Now, we're running a bit of a special. The CDs, I usually charge $300 a CD, okay? I've never gotten it, but I charge it. Friends, all my music, my concerts, everything are all the same. You take what you want, and you give what you want. And just know that 100% of what you give goes towards concerts like we're doing in the prisons this week. Okay, so I'm going, if you're between jobs and you can't give, don't give. But do take the CDs. We also have a card with a link on it. If you type in that link, you'll have all the CDs, but on digital. And I also have on Spotify and YouTube and Apple Music and all those things. If you prefer it that way, it's already there. Okay, but if you do have a CD player and the CD has meaning to you, go and take them at the back. And if you can't donate, don't worry. If you can't give because you're between jobs, don't worry about it. But if you can't give because you give to someone else, stop giving to them. Well, maybe that's a little aggressive. Okay, forget that. Friends, just please know that I will never say no to a concert based on money or based on location. I can go anywhere in the country and perform. So every dollar that you give goes towards this, but in very dark places. Okay. Friends, I want to introduce this last piece. This last piece is a love song. I have a beautiful daughter, and my daughter has Down syndrome. My daughter will never even finish a sentence in this life. Now, I'm just going to share with you, we go in as a family and we play in nursing homes. And it's interesting how we've come to view life. I'm just going to leave that topic for a minute. You know, it's interesting. One of the most interesting things I love to study is the Rwandan War. Why? Because first of all, I know somebody that was in it. She lived in a bathroom for 38 days. And you know, she lived with like 30 other people in this bathroom. And you couldn't make any noise, couldn't make a sound in this bathroom. Because if you made a sound and you were found out, she saw her family slaughtered in front of her eyes with machetes. But I said, so what started the Rwandan War? And she will tell you, we all got along as well as any nation. But as soon as the media gets in there and says, you should hate you, because after all this and your history, that and so on, and neighbors who always loved each other were all of a sudden at odds, to the point where they were able to create hate out of thin air. And so recently, how does that relate to my daughter? The power of the media. The power of suggestion, the power of music, the power of all these things. You know, recently, a gentleman in a nice white lab coat got on the internet and said, oh, by 2030, we're going to be rid of Down syndrome. And he was talking about a country, a different country than ours. Now that's interesting. It sounds good. It sounds good. And after all, he was good looking and he spoke well and he wore a really nice, impressive white coat. So he must be a doctor or something because he's wearing a white coat after all. And he must be really smart, but I must not be that smart because he's on that side of the internet and I'm on the listening side. So I should listen to people smarter than me. So what he said about, oh, we should be rid of Down syndrome, that sounds great, except the problem with that is that Down syndrome is not a disease, it's a condition. And a mother doesn't know she's pregnant with a Down syndrome child until she's pregnant with a Down syndrome child. So to say all those children with Down syndrome should be rid of, all that is a seeking to destroy mission, that's all that is. I have great dignity, but that child should die. Well, that's impossible. It is impossible for me to feel as though my life is worthy of great things and greatness just by existing, but not that. That's called profiling. When we spoke of spirituality of being the highest form of thinking, and profiling is of the lowest. So friends, you know, and then they change the language. Oh, it's merciful to not let these children live because it's so hard on the family. I can speak to that because I have a daughter with Down syndrome. Yes, it's involved. The joke in my home is that when we're empty nesters, the three of us are going to have a ball. It's involved. I have to make sure every morning that when I'm home, that my daughter goes to the dresser for clothes and not the hip. I have to make sure that the top matches with the bottom. I have to make sure that her hygiene is good. I have to make sure she gets a brush through her hair. I have to make sure she gets enough exercise. All those things take time, and you know what that is? It is a gift to me. to be able to sacrifice a good portion of my life, to live out a good portion of my life, to serve someone that the world considers as a throwaway. So friends, we go in nursing homes and we play as a family, and my daughter saw this woman weeping once, and she went right up to the woman. Didn't know who this woman was, didn't know what color, didn't know what part of the world she was from, didn't know if she was educated or not. My daughter climbed in her lap, which is tough, because my daughter has very bad muscle tone. She walks heavy because she doesn't have the leg muscles to control her walking. Her tongue hangs out of her mouth because she doesn't have the facial muscles to keep her tongue in her mouth. And yet she climbed in this woman's lap with great effort, sat on her lap, put her arms around her neck and put her forehead to the woman's forehead. And then my daughter started to weep just as hard as this woman. You have to picture that. Because you know what that was, friends? That was perfect human compassion. Perfect. It was exactly what you and I were meant to be to each other, except you and I were too guarded. We don't show that. It was perfect because my daughter didn't sit there and wait for approval from her friends. Are my friends going to think this is cool? If my friends don't think it's cool, I'm not jumping in her lap. You and I suffer from the disease of what other people think. My daughter doesn't know to think of such ridiculous things. All she did was act on the impulse of care, compassion, and love for that woman. The second reason it was perfect was because my daughter stood back. And she didn't say, oh, well, there's a problem. This woman's in trouble. Why doesn't someone do something about it? My daughter saw a problem and did something about the problem. What do we do? We sit back and the country's in debt. Why doesn't someone do something? Why doesn't someone do something about all the crime? All these kids who are, in the education system, why don't people, they can't even read. Why doesn't someone do something about that? You and I, in all of our brokenness, are the someone. You want to do something about the education system? Go to an inner city school, pick out any kid, and teach them how to read. Don't leave them until they can read well. I don't care how much it inconveniences you. I don't care how much time you have to spend. Stay with it until they can read well. There, you've done something about the education system. It's you and I. There's no Superman going to come and save the day. And you know what? Here's the dirty little secret. As much as we might like this politician or that one, they were never the answer. We look at them as though, oh, great, now things are going to be better. They were never the answer. Human charity is always the answer. I saw this woman, and notice how my daughter reacted to this woman. You know how I reacted? I turned to my kids and I said, we're going to respect and honor her privacy, and we're going to walk by. I taught my kids to ignore people that were in trouble. What a shame. And I turned around and I looked back and I see my beautiful daughter embrace this woman, and all I could think about was how perfect this encounter was. I'm walking by the woman, I'm thinking I'll take my kids to ice cream. Friends, I'm thinking ice cream. You know what I'm feeling for the woman as I'm walking by her? I'm feeling nothing. Nothing. Nothing at all. And all I could think about was, when did I die? When did I die? When did I stop feeling for people? You know, I go and play in the movie stars' homes, and it's great. It's great. You know, everybody in that audience, the only thing that happens in every movie star event that I do is everybody in the audience wants an encounter with the celebrity. It makes sense. They're good looking, they're rich, they have vision, they're funny, they have charisma. It makes sense. Well, we can admire that, but everybody wants to have an encounter with them. You know why? Because movie stars and celebrities are easy to love. It's that good-looking girl, that good-looking guy. It's the athlete with the perfect body. It's the guy who lights up the room with all of his charisma. It's the guy who's the #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. Those people and many others are easy to love. And there's a whole group of people in this world that are tough to love, like my daughter. You want to love my daughter? Come over to my house. You do two things. You'll color, and you'll have a tea party. She can do those two things. And you know what? You'll sit there, my daughter, you'll sit there and say, well, I should talk to her. And you'll talk to her, but she won't talk back because she can't talk. And then you're going to get bored. I give you 10 minutes, and then you're going to be thinking, how do I get out of this gracefully? And her, she she will be so happy just because you're there. You don't need to be a violinist or a cellist or a singer or a speaker or anything. You don't even have to talk. All you need to do is show up. Isn't that amazing? We have the power to make other people's lives euphoric just by showing up. Do you know how many people show up to my house to hang out with my daughter, to make my daughter euphoric? Nobody. And it's not because they're bad people. It's just that we forgot what we mean to each other. Charity is always the right answer. Always. But we all have our vision of charity, right? We all have our vision of charity. Oh, I'll take we live in Pennsylvania here, I'll shovel my neighbor's driveway during winter. There, that's charitable. Good, shovel your neighbor's driveway. That's good. He's old, he can't shovel his driveway. You shovel his driveway's clean. He's happy, and you're happy because you've done something good. That's good. You want real charity? Whoever told us that charity feels good lied to us. You want real charity? Do the charity that hurts tomorrow morning. You know what I'm gonna, the next time we play in the prison a couple days from now, you know what I'm gonna tell the inmates? I'll give you real charity. Call that mother that beat you when you were a child because she had no help from anybody else, and maybe she was addicted to certain things and she took out all of her anger on you. Call her and forgive her. I'm not forgiving her. I hate her. That's a very normal and natural human reaction, except our desire for the higher things like charity outweigh what we feel. Call that father of yours that never had a good word for you. I'm not forgiving him. Call that brother that betrayed you. What about the 5 cool kids at school? And then the weird kid. You go to the 5 cool kids and you say, hey, go and have lunch with the weird kid. I'm not having lunch with him. He's weird. That weird kid does not want to be weird. That poor kid suffers from things that are mental and emotional and psychological that you are blessed not to suffer with. Go and sit with them for an hour and let him be weird. And after that hour, slap him on the back and thank him for that hour. And you may think, oh, that's crazy. I don't want to spend time with him. That may be true, but here's the sickness, is that one kid who's weird knows he's being left alone. Here's what's worse. The 5 cool kids, they know they're leaving him alone. It is impossible for them to feel any self-dignity when they know they are missing a glowing opportunity for charity. One of them break the cool kind of camaraderie, that sick, toxic sort of relationship there, and go over and show pure charity to this other child. So in the prisons, the only letter I can't stand is when they write me and they say, Eric, when I get out of prison, I'm going to do great things. Good. When you get out of prison, do great things. I hate those letters. Here's why. You're not out of prison. It's like me saying, when I'm a millionaire, I'm going to do great things. I'm not a millionaire. Why am I living another life in my head? A life that doesn't exist. We're expected and called to show charity right here, right now, in the environment that we're in. And we're called to live that charity heroically. So the inmates, I tell them, go and find the guy you like the least. Go and find the guy you hate the most. And go and show charity to him. If he's hungry, buy him food. If he doesn't have toiletries, you spend your money and buy him toiletries. If he likes to read, buy him a book and spend an hour with him. And after that hour, make sure he knows that you think the world of him. And then you may walk away and you think, I didn't think it was possible. I hate him more now than I did an hour ago. That may be true. That may be the greatest act of charity, and it makes you more of a man because it means you die to yourself. A friend of mine just got out of prison. I met him when he was in prison, and I was on my way to death row to do a concert for the guys on death row. He was carrying my bags as an inmate. He was helping me carry all my stuff over. He told me when he got out of prison, he said, Eric, I got into over 600 fights when I was in prison, in my 28 years in prison. I said, that's good, 600 fights. You found 600 occasions to beat up people that are weaker than you. That's not tough. I said, you want tough? I'll tell you what you do. Destroy something in you. Destroy the resentment in you. Destroy the judgment in you to go and serve somebody that you would never think of serving. And serve them and make them feel uplifted by your presence. It means a death to something in you in order to serve somebody else. That's tough. That's tough. Beating up people is tough. So, friends, this is a love song that I wrote to my beautiful daughter. When my daughter was born, she was born with a really bad heart. And so I thought she was going to die. She had massive surgery. She went to massive heart failure at 3 months. I didn't think she was going to live. So when we were in the waiting room, I wrote this love song to my beautiful daughter, and I thought, this is all I've got. She was 3 months old. But she did live, and she's doing great. And she's 21 now, and when we go into prisons where we live, my daughter comes in with us, because you only have to be 18. And she sings, and she brings the house. Friends, this is the last piece we're going to do today. Please come and visit us at the table. We are a charity. It's a 501c3. It's called Concerts for Hope. If you wish to write checks, we do take credit card, Venmo, and all that stuff. That information's at the back. So I'll meet you at the back table. Thank you so much for this evening, Father. Thank you for your kindness, and then thank you for your invitation. This is a love song from me to my girl. This piece is called Here I Am.
Now